And we are live. Thank you, everybody, to join us to another episode of the Independent Academy, where we study the technologies and tools that will allow us to become more independent. Today, we have an amazing guest. We have Ahsen from Invent on Bitcoin, a new crowdsourcing platform for Bitcoin projects to get the funding they need to get going. So, Ashin, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna talk a lot about your project, your journey. I'm interested about like the past, how you got to where you are, the present, what you're building, and of course the future. What is the what all this is going for. So thank you for joining us, and yeah, I'll give you a few minutes if you want to give us a little bit of your intro of who you are and how you got here.
Yeah, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Great to be here. So, just a little background on myself. I got involved in the cryptocurrency space in 2016, just as a passive investor, fascinated by the implications of technology and how it could be used to sort of give us an alternate to the financial system that's present. uh, Got more and more involved, went deep down the rabbit hole, just uh, for working and learning uh, from various protocols. Ethereum at that point in time was gaining significance, smart contracts, and all of these new technologies, scaling solutions were coming up. That was also the time, if you guys were present in 2017, the ICO era had just started. So projects were,
Yeah.
for the first time, projects and startups had control to raise funds for themselves. That gave us a lot of innovation, but that also gave rise to a lot of scams and
Mm,
a lot of things that weren't really beneficial or weren't really for the user benefit rather than exploitation. So uh, yeah, that I think uh, just going through that era is important, just because where we are right now, we don't want to repeat the same mistakes on Bitcoin, right? So
mhm.
we need to be really cautious that we present a solution or we present a funding mechanism that could maybe alleviate those problems. So anyway, after that, in 2019, joined a derivatives firm in Australia. Worked as a research analyst over there. Uh, I was in Australia for the past 5 years. Did my masters over there and then worked there for a bit. And now we're trying to set up Invent on Bitcoin, a crowdfunding platform to facilitate innovation on Bitcoin. So yeah, just a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Like I am based in Australia right now, so that is very interesting. And yeah, like I remember the 2017 I ICO. Like I've been learning about Bitcoin very in a very in a very like theoretical way. Like yes, this is like freedom money, a lot of all the good stuff that you associated Bitcoin with. But it was in 2017 where I started to actually put my money into my where my ideas were. And while 2017 was a period, like you said, that we saw a lot of like there was a lot of scams. There was also a lot of projects that were not really well thought out, and maybe they were very well intentioned, and maybe their business plan was not very thorough, or maybe they expected the technology to move at a pace that was not going to be met. But 2017 was a very interesting change in the way that projects could seek funding, right? Like suddenly there was an opportunity for projects to find funding in the open market, which before was completely unheard of. So I don't know if you have any ideas of that. Like I know it opens the door to a lot of bad actors, but at the same time, I feel like it provides a tool for projects to find funding in alternate ways that otherwise would probably have problems with.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, right? So, uh, just looking at it from a project's perspective, for the
Hmm.
first time they had control to choose their destination, to choose their journey, their destination, and not be reliant on all these big VCs and firms and banks to give them funding. That was a very big sort of tool to for them to use and be in control of their own destiny in a way. And yeah, from an innovation and from a progress standpoint, that was really interesting and a really big leap forward. Uh, and obviously we can't sort of bucket everyone
Hmm.
together. We can't. There were some innovations and some projects that benefited a lot, and the community and the whole ecosystem benefited a lot. But obviously, when control of raising funds is saturated, then that means that you could exploit it in many
Right.
ways. So, on the other hand, where there is innovation, there's exploitation, and
Mm.
a lot of bad actors and a lot of scammers, and it was essentially a wild west where if you had a good marketing team, you could essentially raise funds for anything. There was so many copy paste projects where they're copying literally the whole white paper and just rewording it in a way to, to present themselves. Because every one, we need to sort of stress this point. Every one of these companies or startups, they were pre-seed. So in essence, they don't have a product. They
Mm.
don't have a product market fit. They don't have users. So
Right.
the only thing that they could sort of play the whole funding pitch to was their potential,
Right.
and the marketing sort of took care of that. If you had a good marketing budget and a good marketing team, then you can take care of that. But yeah, as we saw, the whole bubble burst, and yeah, a lot of bad press and a lot of problems were created. But then again, we need to look at the brighter side too. That a lot of good and interesting and legitimate projects also came into being.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. One tend to remember all the ones that didn't quite work out, but there were a few projects that managed to use that to raise the initial funds to build sustainable businesses, at least so far. Like even Ethereum did an ICO, and so far it has been worked out for those initial investors.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. So the to me, it's like the idea of an ICO to do fundraising without middlemen, that is attractive to me. Like I also understand that there's a lot of people that will take advantage of that opportunity, of course.
yeah,
But that's why I was really intrigued about your project, which is to help Bitcoin projects find funding through alternative means. So maybe you can talk to us about a little bit like what drove you to this idea and what is it that you are building? How are you helping these Bitcoin projects get funding? What is it that you are working on right now?
sure. Uh, so just a sort of overview, a simple simplification of the whole idea is if you're a Bitcoin innovator or an entrepreneur or a founder who has an interesting idea that's building on Bitcoin, it doesn't need to be a tech stack. It doesn't need to be a layer two solution. It doesn't need to be an ordinals. It could be anything on Bitcoin, even a media or an art project. If you want to direct a documentary, produce a documentary, if you want to open up educational courses, it could be anything related to Bitcoin. So the way it works is you submit your project to our platform, uh, and yeah, so as you can see, this is a sort of our version one. You submit your project to a platform. You specify your funding goals, you input your information. There's a essentially a form that you need to fill regarding okay how long is the duration, what funding mechanism you want to use. So right now we're giving you a choice to fund your project in Bitcoin or on stacks. So you could uh, uh, you could either accept both these payment methods or you could pick and choose between them. uh, and then it goes from there. If it's on Bitcoin, then well, there's no questions asked. You can put your project on the platform. But the other side of this is, I'll go back to the ICO argument and
Mhm.
even the Bitcoin argument right now. So we saw programmability on Bitcoin coming into existence the last February with ordinals and all of these ingenious solutions. What's happening right now? So it's been a year. We have had time to digest. Market has had time to see what works and what's not working. There have, I think we have just finished our first cycle, and the interest is at a fever pitch right now. New projects are coming every day. But what we're seeing right now is the same pattern that was present on Ethereum in 2017-18 is being repeated. So
Yeah.
uh, projects that have a good marketing budget, projects that have a good social media reach, projects that already have industry connections, they're the ones who are coming up to the forefront. They're the ones who are able to make any sort of dent or gain any sort of traction when it comes to building their project. And that leaves an ecosystem where innovation is reserved for the few, the top 1 to 2 to 5%, and the rest of people, rest of the population who actually wants to innovate on Bitcoin doesn't really have that reach. Even if they go for the ICO route or the IDO route, as it's now happening, uh, the chances of them securing funds and actually building on their idea are not that great. We want to eliminate that gap. We want to give those people and innovators a platform where these problems can be mitigated. And to that end, we have built a platform where if you're innovating or inventing on Bitcoin, then you can use this platform. And the other side of this is we have a section called curated projects over here. So I'll just take you through it.
All right.
Yeah. So the idea of getting curated is that over here we are focusing on problems that they would face and how we could help them in getting seen and known and heard by the community. Through this program, you so this is not open for everyone. I'll just give you a disclaimer. This is only open for select projects who have
Hmm.
met a certain set of requirements that have been set by us, be it the development phase or traction or anything. It's some set of requirements that a project needs to fulfill before being accepted in this program. Over here, you get a few advantages where we would essentially uh, focus your project in terms of social media reach, in terms of customer user engagement, and in terms of giving you a spotlight on our platform. Because you have satisfied these requirements, there is a lot of confidence that comes into the whole process where we can actually shed a light on your project,
Hmm.
and we are more confident in your project and the journey that you have taken. So to that end, we would hold AMAs on Twitter for you. We would be asking you to interact with the community, do a Q&A session with the community as well. And yeah, and giving you a spotlight on featured projects uh, on our platform as well. But yeah,
Right,
so
and correct
yeah,
me if I am wrong, but you're trying to keep the bad actors out, basically.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, because yeah, because we want to do things different now. It can't be the same. Well,
Mm,
where every it's a free for all for everyone. Okay, if you think that you can't satisfy these requirements that have been set by us, you can just use the platform as it is. But
mm.
you won't get these advantages or these
Okay, okay.
things that we do for you if you do that. So it's a much better proposition for the project as well, and for the user, say user security as well, because the
Yeah.
user can now know the team, can have access to founder interviews, can have access to what sort of development phase the project is on, and they can make a more informed decision. So that is essentially one of the features of the platform. There are a few others, but yeah, from a
Mhm.
user and from an investment perspective, we are focusing on anything that can come under the Bitcoin umbrella. It doesn't need to be a technology based focusing business. It could be anything, and we are uh, giving the user and the startup a choice to get curated on the platform.
All right. So that's already a big advantage for people that can actually do that, which
Yeah,
will separate them from the ones that can't.
yeah.
It's good.
And yeah, I mean, just giving you an overview of the platform.
Hmm.
So yeah, there'll be trending projects over here, the progress bar of how much Bitcoin has been raised. Uh, we'll give you any and all categories under the Bitcoin umbrella. Right now, we have a few categories such as ordinals, BRC20s, layer 2, mining, media, stamps, DeFi, Bitcoin art, wallets, education, metaverse, games. And I'm pretty sure that these categories would increase in the future because
Hmm.
innovation on Bitcoin is growing at a rapid pace right now. So even we can't judge where it'll go uh,
Yeah,
5 months
yeah.
from now. Yeah.
Right now, there seems to be an explosion, and there's a lot of I think there's a lot of speculation about how much we can build in the near term. We still don't know. It is a moment in the history of Bitcoin where I think it's the most uncertainty of. It seems like the possibilities are a lot bigger than what we previously thought they were. So it is a very exciting time right now. It's a bit of an uncertain time as well because it's a lot of possibilities, and until we start building them, we won't know the roadblocks that we're gonna face. So right now, there's a lot of possibilities and uncertainty as well. So it's very exciting time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, whenever a new industry is created, it's always exciting, just
Yeah,
because you aren't even sure of the possibilities or the ceiling of this. And if Ethereum was anything to go by, this would be much bigger because it's on
mm,
Bitcoin, and Bitcoin uh, has some inherent advantages that can't be replicated. So yeah, we're very excited to embark on this journey and sort of see where it goes. And
mhm.
yeah, just from a user benefit perspective, I think uh, we can play a part in helping a lot of people with this.
Definitely, definitely. So the invent on Bitcoin website or application for people to start presenting their projects is not live yet. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. So
Okay.
right now, our version one build should be live in the next 2 to 3 days. So at that point in time, the beta whitelist users could sort of interact with the platform and see how it is, how the whole navigation works, and what sort of categories their projects can fit in. And from a user perspective as well, there's a lot of informational content where you can read the terms and conditions. Okay, if I invest or if I fund this project, what benefit would I be deriving, what security measures are in place to sort of protect my funding, and all of that. So yeah, we're very excited to present it to the community, and I think it should be done within the next few days, and projects would be able to sign up, as well as users who want to test the platform and get involved. They'll be able to sign up as well.
Right. That is super super exciting, and I am wondering that do you already have some projects that got in touch with you, or do are you like what types of projects are you seeing jumping to be the first in lines for people
Yeah,
to
yeah, it's really interesting. So as you know, we have been part of the Bitcoin Startup Labs cohort, uh,
yeah.
uh, and yeah, we'll be embarking on this as well while creating the platform. Now, from there, there were a lot of founders and teams that were interested in the solution. What I can share with you is I have had a lot of interest in people wanting to uh, fund their projects over here, and some very unusual categories. Something okay from our perspective, from our team's perspective, we were sort of envisioning interest from all the popular categories, such as ordinals would be the number one, BRC20s, maybe rooms. But what we're seeing is an influx of innovative categories. So Bitcoin gaming was one. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and
Huh.
social media was another.
Really?
Reward structure for influencers was another. So all these new and innovative categories that don't have a platform yet to get on are reaching out to us and want to get involved as soon as possible, as soon as we launch, become our launch partners. And that's really exciting for us because there are right now, if we look at the alternatives that they have, they can either go to a launch pad, which is very
Mm.
focused. So a launch pad would either entertain BRC20s, ordinals, or things that they're already doing business in, uh, or they can do it alone. They can raise funds through an IDO and stuff like that. But then again, those problems that we discussed, they aren't really addressed if you do that. There's a big problem with visibility and social media reach, which a new founder or someone who doesn't possess these qualities would find really hard to gain any sense of traction. So what we're seeing right now is all these interesting founders from all over the world, places that we weren't really expecting much of a reception in. But yeah, they're coming on board. They want to uh, fund their projects and fund their innovative ideas from with categories that we were very surprised by.
Yeah, that is very exciting to see people that are building in different places to be interested in building on Bitcoin. That makes me very excited because I I don't want to see the same stuff being rehashed over and over. I want to see different kind of stuff being built. So like gaming, social, that excites me because that also has the potential to attract a different kind of audience into Bitcoin. And it's not just again rehashing the same audience over and over.
Yeah.
So that is great news. Now you said that you like in your platform at the moment you can support projects using bitcoins or the Stacks blockchain. Do
I'm
you?
sorry. Could you repeat your question?
Yes, you said earlier that in for the people that want to invest in the projects in your website that you're accepting payments through Bitcoin
Yeah.
main chain and Stacks.
Yeah, and stacks both. Yeah, we wanna open it up to the stacks community as well. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, Staxi is having a big moment now with the whole Nakamoto upgrade. We
Yeah.
have a interview with some of the Stacks community members scheduled for tomorrow, talking all about the Nakamoto upgrade. I don't know much about it. I know there's a um, big excitement around it. So I wanna learn more, and that's why we scheduled the interview for tomorrow about that specific topic.
Oh, nice.
But I'm just wondering, do you have any plans to add Lightning Network, Rootstock, maybe the other blockchains, especially taking into consideration that at the moment there seems to be a lot of focus on building new L2s or new blockchains around Bitcoin. That seems to be a big narrative at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not to give you too much away right now because we're not ready,
Okay.
but uh, you can expect something like that. Yeah,
All
there,
right.
there,
All right.
there are things in the works that we're actively pursuing, things that we can actually uh, implement with the resources that we have, because we don't want to spread ourselves too thin too quickly.
Yeah, makes sense.
uh, yeah, well, we wanna be able to provide a solution that works firstly, that doesn't really encounter problems. So, to your question, there are some plans to do that. Yeah,
Yeah. Again, like right now, there seems to be an like unprecedented moment. I've been in Bitcoin for a long time. I've been working in the space for a number of years, full time, and I've never seen this much excitement around Bitcoin about the new possibilities of building on Bitcoin, especially with BitBM. It seems like it's gonna open the doors to a lot more stuff than we thought it would be possible. Um, and just wondering if you want to give a little bit of your thoughts around why starting with stacks in particular. I know that a lot of people in the Bitcoin community, there seems to be a lot of people that are not that haven't come around to the stacks blockchain as of yet. So maybe just give me your thoughts on why you think it's a good idea to start from the get go accepting stacks support.
yeah, yeah. So it comes down to the implementation of the technology and how what they've been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. People weren't really looking into stacks when they started in 2018. It was it was something that was not taken seriously. L2s on Bitcoin, okay, would it work? Would it not work? And the team, there were marks around that. But what they've been able to achieve, how seamless their blockchain and um, uh, handling of transaction and what the whole architecture is set up, we're very impressed by that. We right now, as of right now, we see stacks as the leading L2. There's not a question in our head. I mean, I could be wrong, obviously, but at least from our perspective, from our team's perspective, that is something that uh, we're really excited to integrate just because of its standing, the usability it provides right now, the already a host of applications that make life easier to onboard new people onto Bitcoin are already built on stacks, like wallet integrations, stuff like that. So I think just from a usability perspective and the growth perspective, stacks is a no-brainer for us.
All right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I've been trying to be involved with all the different Bitcoin communities, and the stacks community has been one that, through the adversity of the bear market, they have banded together in a way that it is quite exciting. The whole thing that they did with the decentralized grants, I thought it was brilliant. Like
Yeah,
the way they do it completely openly, and anybody was able to go there and voice their opinion and have their voice being heard. And like I love that approach that they had. I've been working a lot with the rootstock blockchain, so I also love what they are building there. And I am just like I am celebrating all the different ecosystems, and I
What,
want all
what
the
just one question. What do you
yes.
reckon? I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this.
All
The rootstock blockchain. I mean, we saw it come into existence, and there have been a lot of development in that as well. Where do you reckon they are at this stage in time into implementing something, that could truly have an impact as a L2?
I think Rootstock is in a very interesting spot. I think they have built a lot of infrastructure that is great. Like for example, like I'm just being 100% honest. Most of my funds at the moment are in the Rootstock blockchain because I think for financial applications, it is one of the ones that makes me the most secure that my money is safe, while at the same time giving me some advantages over having Bitcoin in a cold wallet. Like I have Bitcoin in a cold wallet, but at the moment, most of my funds are in the Rootstock blockchain because it allows me to do certain things other than just holding Bitcoin in the cold storage wallet. Even though I have that, like that's why, like every time I speak about Rootstock, I have to kind of defend myself because people told me like Rootstock is not as safe as having your Bitcoin in a cold storage. Like yes, I I grant you that. I have Bitcoin in my cold storage wallet. I have funds in Rootstock, and Rootstock Rootstock at the moment is very focused still on serving people in the Latin American countries and in places like Africa. Like to me, the best application that Rootstock has at the moment, there's two things: is the BPRO token from Money on Chain and the dollar on chain, also from Money on Chain. The dollar on chain is a stable coin that is completely backed by Bitcoin. So to me, like if I want to have dollars, I'd rather have my dollars being backed by Bitcoin, right? And that is something that I haven't found anywhere else that I can have that. Stablecoin that is completely collateralized by Bitcoin. It's been running since 2019. It has never depegged through the ups and downs of all the markets. It has been like steady. So that is the first thing that I love Rootstock for. The second thing is that it allows me to, with the BPRO token, is a way for you to get an extra earning on your Bitcoin in Bitcoin terms. So I don't want to go too much into detail unless people want me to, and you can leave in the comments if you want me to. But basically, in order for this stablecoin to be fully collateralized by Bitcoin, it has to be over collateralized because what you want is that even when Bitcoin goes down, you want that stablecoin to be fully collateralized by Bitcoin. So it has to have more collateral in case the price of Bitcoin goes down in the short term.
Right.
And the way you get that extra collateral is you add liquidity and you get this token, the BPRO token. And the easiest way to visualize this BPRO token is to think it's like Bitcoin with an extra leverage. So when Bitcoin goes down, it goes down a little bit more than Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes up, it goes a little bit higher than Bitcoin. So if you think that Bitcoin is going to outperform the dollar in the long term, BPRO makes sense. And to me, at the moment, I have a lot of my Bitcoin are in BPRO, and I've been holding them since Bitcoin was at 20,000. So it has worked quite well for me. Um, it is not financial advice, but Rootstock gives me that security and these kinds of tools. Like I can have USD backed by Bitcoin, and I can have a way to outperform Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Also, that is completely collateralized by Bitcoin, and it's all done by smart contracts, so you can always check that there's enough Bitcoins backing, and you can always go to the protocol and exchange your assets for the Bitcoin that is being backed by. So in that way, I really like Rootstock for that. Um, like I remember one of my first jobs when I got into Rootstock was to analyze the difference between Rootstock and Stacks, and I like the Stacks community. I'm a part of it. I'm active. I I support everything, everyone that wants to add value to Bitcoin. my initial assessment of analyzing both ecosystems was like I I saw that Rootstock had a lot more financial applications being built. Rootstock has very few applications, but the ones that it has, they're very robust and very solid, and that's why most of my money is in Rootstock. But on Stacks, I see a lot of social applications. Like I can have my community running on console, which is like a
Yeah,
decentralized version of Discord. I can have a blog on Sigil, which is a decentralized version of Medium, right? And you can have a lot of this stuff. Like if you want to build, like if you want to create NFTs, I try creating NFTs on Rootstock. It's not ideal for it. Like you can do it. It's not ideal for it. If you wanna have NFTs, maybe something like Gamma on Stacks makes more sense. So I think at the moment the way I'm thinking is like Stacks seems to be more suited for Web3 social apps, more that kind of stuff. And in Rootstock I see more the financial applications. Even though in Stacks we are seeing the rise of new financial applications with Arcadico, Alex, he's been doing quite well recently. There is this Velar,
yeah,
BTC is launching. I don't know if it already launched or it's gonna launch very soon in mainnet, and that is driving a lot of. He has a big community behind it, so I am paying attention to everything. But at the moment, I am using Rootstock as more of my savings, my long-term savings, if you will, and that's the way I'm seeing the space at the moment. I try to apply a very practical view of things and be like, okay, what blockchain is going to give me the best utility for this specific thing? And the way I see Rootstock is great for assets that you don't want to do a lot of movements within it. Like it's not the
right,
best blockchain if you want to trade because like you can if you want to interact with a smart contract, you're gonna spend a few dollars. So if you want to do quick trades, it's probably not the best. But if you want to have Bitcoin long term and accumulating more sats while you're holding them, it's a good tool. If you want to have stable coins backed by Bitcoin in a lending protocol, accumulating some return, that's not gonna be great. You're not gonna get the 20% that Terra promised, but you're gonna get a steady between 6 and 8% in your dollars backed by Bitcoin, and you're probably not gonna have much problems with them. So that's how I'm seeing Rootstock and how I'm seeing Stacks. I am super happy at the moment that Rootstock has launched a few partnerships that I am excited about, which are with Uniswap has come to Rootstock to make easier to trade between assets, which is great. And there's a couple of bridges that came to Rootstock recently. There's Symbiosis and Nitro, which are great if you're using the other EVM chains. So for people that don't know, Rootstock is EVM compatible. That's one of the main driver points. Is like you could build similar stuff that you are building in Ethereum. Like it doesn't take a lot more uh, development to make them available on Rootstock. Well, that's one of the main value drivers. So right now with Nitro and with Symbiosis, there are two really good bridges, and you can basically bridge in and out of Rootstock into any of the Ethereum L2s, and that is helping connect Bitcoin with the other ecosystems that at the moment are very disjointed. So I think Rootstock can act as a bridge between Bitcoin and Ethereum. That was always the original idea. I think now it's starting to come true after many, many years. It took a long time, but I think it's finally happening.
fair enough. Uh, yeah, man. I mean, you've given me a lot to think about because my first experience with Rootstock was in the Sovereign
Sovereign,
ICO. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I was an investor in the ICO It did quite well, but then it dropped a lot. Uh,
Likewise, yes. I was a early investor in Sovereign. I actually at some point I was part of the Sovereign team.
oh,
So
really?
I yes, yes. I worked as a member of the Sovereign team for a few months, and I I still think that Sovereign is still one of the, like, when I go out and I speak to people about Rootstock, most of the people in crypto that I met, either they don't know about Rootstock, or if they know about Rootstock, it's because of Sovereign.
Yeah,
So Sovereign did very well in getting the word out there that there are some stuff being built on Bitcoin. But like you said, it Sovereign launched in the middle of the bull market, and it had the narrative of like DeFi is going up, and at that point it seems like it was going up forever.
yeah,
And it's like, let's grab DeFi, let's put Bitcoin, and it's gonna be magic. And the reality was that once people started building on Rootstock, building on Bitcoin, and they started facing all the actual challenges and all that stuff, that's when reality sinked in, and then the bear market happened, and we saw, like, to me this was heartbroken, because I was an investor from the very beginnings, and I saw the token go up to $20 and then go down to 10 cents, right? Like
Um,
it,
I remember it going up to 80 something dollars. I was
yeah,
there. I mean, yeah, it was crazy just
yeah,
after launch, and the narrative was quite good. Uh, DeFi is coming on Bitcoin,
yeah.
even though we didn't stop to answer a certain questions that, okay, if DeFi is coming on Bitcoin, is Bitcoin at least ready for it or not?
Mm,
Uh, yeah, but then again, I mean, there are pioneers who do stuff, uh, and they're usually sacrificed in the way of innovation, where people coming on the coming after them would take advantage of what they did, and that's what
yeah,
happened. But I think
yeah.
sovereign's gaining prominence again now, right? It's getting more popular now, and adaptability is
Yes,
increasing.
yes. Sovereign is a very, very interesting thing to study and to analyze. Like I am someone that I am very curious, and I like to know what everybody's doing, and I love to see how projects are shifting in real time and study them. And at the moment, Sovereign has a lot of different things going that they're trying to pursue. And the first thing that they're trying to pursue is that they're trying to build the the same app that they have running on Rootstock. They want to build the same services by but bridging them over to the new L2s on Bitcoin that are appearing right now. Like, only, I think, maybe yesterday. So this is like brand new. Um, there is a new L2 blockchain that is called Bob, built on Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So they have presented a formal proposal to the sovereign community to invite them to launch the DApp, the same services that they're doing on Rootstock, to launch them on the new Bob L2 blockchain, which is trying to combine Ethereum and Bitcoin in a very different way. It's a different approach to Rootstock. It's still an EVM compatible layer two of Bitcoin. So in that sense, it's similar. But the way that it works, especially the bridge between Bitcoin and this new L2, is going to be done by BitVM. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, Sovereign is planning to launch that L2 there. And the long term that Sovereign presented to its community is that um, they want to create they call it the sovereign layer, and it's basically like a way for any layer two that wants to attach itself to Bitcoin, basically to send some sort of, like, to gather all the transactions and put them into the sovereign layer, and then the sovereign layer is going to put it into Bitcoin. So it's kind of like an aggregate. It's like a way for all the layer twos to settle on sovereign, and then sovereign settles on Bitcoin.
Right.
They call it the Bitcoin OS, so like the Bitcoin operating system. I am still wanting for them to give me a little bit more details on how this is going to work. So far, it's all very high level. But yeah, that's what Sovereign is been up to lately. They're looking a lot about what can be unlocked by the BPM, which I think at the moment seems to be the thing that most projects are looking into. But BPM is not out yet, so it's a lot of speculation. And
Right now, yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole space is rife with speculation. Okay,
yeah,
they
yeah,
can do this, we'll be able to do this, but unless it transpires,
yeah,
we
yeah,
won't know for sure, right? So,
exactly.
yeah, but yeah, interesting point that whoever cracks the EVM compatibility uh, would would have something really great on their hands. Right now, the solutions they either are half baked or they're just ideas. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
you
No,
are.
and I am personally like slightly concerned that the same thing that happened with this idea, like DeFi is great. We're gonna put Bitcoin and it's gonna be magic, and that didn't actually pan out when you actually like it was great to sell the idea. It was a different thing to build it out and to actually clash with the constraints. Like building on Bitcoin has a lot of constraints. Like it's not as easy to build on Bitcoin as the other blockchains. That's why the other blockchains exist.
Yeah,
The other blockchains were created because building on Bitcoin was not that easy. Like that's in short why those blockchains exist. So I am slightly like I want to be positive about the outlook of building on Bitcoin. I'm also slightly concerned that we're going to go through the same thing again, which is that there's going to be a lot of great ideas and people are going to buy the idea, and then the price is going to detach itself from the reality of what it actually means to build on Bitcoin, which usually takes a lot more time than people think. It usually has a lot more constraints. So I am a little bit worried that we're going to go through the same cycle again. I think it's most more likely than not, it's inevitable that we're going to go through that cycle.
yeah,
um but I'm hoping that at the end we get more stuff being built on Bitcoin. I think building on Bitcoin, it offers a lot of great stuff. Like if you build on Bitcoin, you have a lot of settlement assurances, you get a lot of security that you don't get as much in other different chains. But if we want to reach the larger audience, I feel like just saying it's DeFi but on Bitcoin, like it's not gonna be that. Like it actually has to be a better product, you
yeah.
know?
And to that end, uh, yeah, I mean there will be a lot of promises, a lot of projects, sort of setting their goals so high that they're unachievable in the short term, and there'll be a lot of failures. But let's see what sort of success stories we see as well,
Yeah,
because yeah, for every 10 companies to fail, maybe one succeeds, and that could have a profound impact on how this whole ecosystem is built upon. But yeah, what I'm concerned right now is the whole DeFi episode on Bitcoin, where every now and then there are reports of hacking and
mm,
security vulnerabilities on these pools and DeFi solutions. So we rather so in best case scenario we shouldn't see something like that on Bitcoin, but I think it would be naive to think that. I
mhm,
think because if you're building on Bitcoin, then you are essentially building another tech stack layer of which you are in control of. And if you're in control of something, if a company is in control of something, they can either miss something, they can either implement a wrong solution that's easy to exploit. That's what happened on Ethereum, and I see it happen on Bitcoin as well. So slow and cautious would be an approach to take, but as we know, it's all it's not all it doesn't really go like this all the time. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think like it's a good idea to remind people that this is like this the most similar thing you can get to in the traditional world is to think of it like you're investing in startups, and investing in startup has a lot of risk. Like most startups don't make it. And if users just want to make like a very safe bet, just buy Bitcoin, hold it.
yeah,
That's it. That's gonna be fine. No matter what happens with the people building on Bitcoin, Bitcoin's gonna be fine. Um, but if you wanna take like it's a risk, and it's also the opportunity that traditionally most people didn't have access to
that's true.
invest in these companies from the ground up, acknowledging the risk, taking on the risk consciously, making the decision like, yes, there's probably a lot of risk. We don't know which implementation is going to work. Like Rootstock has their own ideas, Stacks has its own ideas, Bob has its own ideas. Whatever new L2 is going to come on Bitcoin is going to have its own ideas of what it wants to accomplish and the way it wants to accomplish it. And if you as a user you want to take that risk consciously, then go for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, uh, it depends on the risk appetite, but yeah, uh, from our perspective, that is one of the main sort of uh, pain points we need to address with this, making the whole investing and backing journey. I mean, we can't really guarantee anything that we'll be able to eliminate this, or this, but we'll
Mm.
try to eliminate a lot of problems that are very prevalent and give the user experience somewhat of a transparency uh, and confidence when investing in these new companies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just if you can do like a initial filter and to take some of the bad projects out, because a lot of times, especially when you talk to Bitcoin maximalisms, the Bitcoin maxis they say everything's a scam, and
Yeah,
a lot of times like it's not a scam, it's just a startup that didn't work,
yeah,
and like that's not unusual. A startup that doesn't work is not unusual.
yeah,
So again, if invent on Bitcoin can be a initial filter that takes the projects that are obvious scams out and just leaves the people that are trying to build real things, and then of course it can't, not all of them are going to work, because if you look at the success rate of startups, it's like maybe 1 in 10 maybe works, you know
yeah,
so
something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
with startups. I think 1 in 10. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. And but then again, that's the whole trial and error process, and uh, there will be ideas which are essentially not achievable even in the long term, but there
Mm.
will be ideas that would work in the short term as well. So, doing your research, uh, doing your due diligence, and then going through resources that we have provided on the platform, like founder interviews, is such a it should be industry standard that we were surprised that so many projects don't do that.
Mhm.
Launchpads don't do that. Just to know the founder, their vision, where they see the company, what's their go-to-market strategy. That's so essential for any investor, and this sort of information is so pertinent to the investment decision. But it's not a standard procedure. Some people do it, some don't. Some projects do it, some don't. And then just standardizing this whole process, where okay, you can have access to. So yeah, one thing that I wanted to touch upon as well is we want to incorporate project analytics as well to this.
Hmm.
Uh, so giving you essential data from the blockchain in terms of transaction counts and number of wallets that are engaged with the platform, stuff like that. Then coming down to the other layer of social media, what's their social media reach and engagement and those sort of statistics. And we're sort of creating a holistic dashboard where project analytics would also come into play. So essentially creating a platform where, okay, the first sort of attraction would be that you could crowdfund anything on Bitcoin, be it a Bitcoin game, be it a layer two, be it anything that you can think of. And the second thing is to be as transparent as possible, to give assurances to the users and the backers as well as the startups. That, okay, there are deterrences, there are some requirements that you need to fulfill. Otherwise, you wouldn't be featured on the platform. You would be you might use the platform, but you won't be featured.
Hmm.
So steps like that, they just create a more robust sort of system to help in the funding process for new startups coming out.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm a big fan of what you're trying to build. I think is very useful, especially right now. Again, there's probably like there's gonna be more projects launching on Bitcoin now than it's gonna be that all the history of Bitcoin put together in the next probably in the next 2 years is gonna be more than the last 10.
Yeah,
So yeah, so something like this right now I think is like the perfect tool at the perfect time, and it's something that we need to sort of like help redirect the funds to the projects that deserve them the most,
yeah,
without taking the opportunity to everyone to publish their vision, but help that process so that we don't get the same thing that we got in 2017, where, like you said, people were just copy pasting the white paper, which now even there's a lot of a lot of arguments about like this project made the white paper with chat gpt.
ChatGPT, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like that only makes things more complicated for the average investor that probably doesn't have enough time to fully research every single project. So yeah, I'm a big fan of what you guys are building. I encourage every project that's thinking of launching on Bitcoin to reach out and to see how to best get them listed there. And I will be very happy to host you again when the site is up. You have some projects going and to see how things are going. I would love to do like a catch up on the experience of being launched, have some projects on, have some funding happening, and whatever I can do from my end to direct more people to use your tool. I'll be more than happy to. And we're reaching now the hour mark. I don't know if you want to leave people with how to get in touch with you, how to get the project listed, or whatever it is that you want people to find you.
yeah. All right. Thank you for all the effort that you have done for us, for giving us a platform. I'm a big fan of how you conduct these interviews. It's more about educating the people and less
Mm.
about cloud chasing like most other uh, creators and influencers do. So,
Yeah.
big fan of your work, man, and thank you for all your support. So yeah, the best way to reach us would be through Twitter. It would be just DM us on Twitter, invent on BTC. That's the account. And my personal account is at Cryptooling. I think I've retweeted that as well. So yeah, if you want to get in touch with me personally, that's the way. But yeah, I think uh, uh, we'll be launching our first version in the next few days. So be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to sign up. You'll be able to even participate in the beta program. There are a lot of rewards uh, associated with that. We're rewarding the early users as well with a reward structure you haven't really seen before. So yeah, uh, get involved, and thank you for everything from us.
Yes, no worries, no worries. I do think that incentives in this space play a big role. So hearing you that you're thinking about how to align incentives, that is great. Thank you for your kind words. And yeah, we'll have you again in the future, I'm sure. And hopefully, once there's a bunch of projects launched, funded, and going, hopefully.
Yeah,
And yeah,
sure.
if everybody is interested, follow Ashin in the links below. We will add all the links to the description of the video as well. Thank you for joining us, and we'll have another interview with another builder in the space as we keep exploring all this super interesting stuff that keeps changing day by day and keeps expanding. And the more I learn, the more I know that I don't know enough, you know, and the more I want to learn. So thank you all for coming in this adventure with me, and thank you, Ashin, for all your valuable time, attention, and for all the work that you are doing. So
All right. Thanks, man.